honest with ourselves and we look at our lives and the pieces of our lives, marriage and parenting and being a Jew, our careers, how we feel about ourselves, we're doing fine. Most people are doing okay, things are good, and when you ask most people how's life, it's good. But in a quiet moment, we deep down know that we should be better, and that we could be better, and that we have the potential of really becoming great. And what I want to talk to you today about is one way to get there. Now, what you're watching is Super Bowl. Super Bowl is an incredible game of football, and most people think that football is just like a ball bouncing around and being thrown back and forth, but it's so much more. Football is like moving chess. And there are so many lessons that take place at the highest level of football, which is what we're watching, that really apply to greatness across the board. And if we're focused on it, and if we can focus on something beyond just the score, but the game, we can apply it to our lives and become better today and for the rest of our lives. So let's take one. So I heard this beautiful word in the name of a man, Rav Yecheskel from Kuzmir. And he says the following. If you remember the famous story, the Jews come out of Egypt, they woke up to Har Sinai, and Hashem gives them the luchos. And afterwards, Hashem calls Moshe up to Shemayim, so to speak, and downloads to him the entirety of the Torah. But the way Hashem called Moshe up has a little bit of a redundancy. The pasuk says, "Vayomer Hashem al Moshe, alei ala hahara vehe sham." Come up with me to the mountain and be there. And Rav Yecheskel of Kuzmir says, wait a second. Why do you need the back end of that statement? Alei alai hahara, come up with me up on the mountain and be there. Where else is Moshe going to be? If Moshe goes up on the mountain, he's going to be with God. It's not like he's climbing the mountain and rappelling off the back end. This isn't a ski slope, right? If he's climbing the mountain, he is going to be with God. Why in the world does Hashem have to say, Ve'eh Sham? Of course he's going to be there. He climbed the mountain. So he gives such an incredible insight in life. He says, Moshe Rabbeinu is the leader of the Jewish people, right? When parents leave their family on vacation, when they go away, when a father goes away or a mother goes away on a business trip, and they're on the road, they didn't leave their family. They're thinking about, are the kids okay? Are they in school? Did they get their lunch? Did this work out? Did that work out? Did they get the medicines? Parents are always thinking about their kids. They're always worried about them. Well, when Moshe was going to climb the mountain, Moshe was the parents of the Jewish people. He just handed them the Torah. He just upended their entire lives. And he was going to leave for 40 days. Hashem says, Alei alai hara, come with me on the mountaintop. And I'm going to do something huge for you. I'm going to download the Torah on you. But you got to be there. Your head can't be back with your people. I don't just want your physical body. I want all of you. The Sham. You got to be all in. You got to be all there. I know there's a lot going on. I know you're going to be thinking about, did I tell him this and what's going on with Aaron? And I get it. But for you to get what you need to get for the rest of humanity, you have to be all there. Because that's how life works. Most of us live our lives, and wherever we go, we bring our bodies, but we don't really bring our heads. We don't bring our minds. Our minds are usually in 50 places. We go to shul, and we're davening, but we're not fully davening. Our body is davening, but my mind's also davening. It's also in work and worry about what I got to do, and I can't believe I forgot that, and I got to call that person. Oh my gosh, I didn't do this. So we're not really davening. We're not really at work. Then we come home and spend time with our kids, and then we're thinking, oh my gosh, I forgot to do this, and I got to do this, and what's going to be, and what's going to be. So we're not really with our kids, but we're not really in our day. With our wives, we're thinking about work. When work, we're thinking about our wives. When we're in shop, most of us spend a lot of our time physically someplace, but never sham. We're never fully there. And as a result, that's why we're not being great. Because to be great in life, when you're at whatever you're doing, you can't be the best at it if you're not all in it. Because life requires all of you. And we have the talent. And we have the resources. And we have the potential. What we're missing is the focus. And when we focus in on what's right in front of us, just by who we are, we can be so much better than we're being right now. If you want to see something amazing, watch the game. Whether it's Garoppolo or it's Mahomes, whoever is the quarterback at the time. I want you to when you come back in the half, I want you to watch the line. Watch Patrick Mahomes on the line. Watch what he's doing. He's sitting there and he's screaming. And for us, we're like, whatever. He's just screaming words. He's not screaming words. What he's doing is the coach called a play because the coach is watching the defense. Football is chess. They're trying to match up formations. And they're trying to figure out how to get somebody open. So the defense thinks this, and the offense plays this. And Patrick Mahomes comes to the line, and he's got a play in his head that the coach just called. And he looks at the line, and he's all in. There isn't one part of him that's thinking about tomorrow, next week. I can't believe it. I can't believe I missed that throw. What's going to happen in 2 weeks ago? Do we book tickets on vacation? You know what he's thinking? You know where he is? He's just in the game. And because he's all in, he sees that the safety's pulling up, and he knows that means that there may be a blitz. So he's screaming out another play. He's watching the linebackers move in. They're coming in on an inside block because they think there's going to be a run. So he's screaming out to Kelsey, you got to roll to the right. What Mahomes is doing is he's adapting to what's happening because he's all into it. Watch the defense. The reason why Richard Sherman is because as the play unfolds, he's the cornerback watching the game and going, I think he's throwing this person. Let me move over to the right. Watch the bench. Watch the whole field. If there's a bad throw, watch what happens next. They sit him down. He's looking at an iPad. He's not looking at his Instagram page. He's looking at the play again and again and again. Because the reason why these people are playing is because you know what they're the best at? They're athletic. But everyone's athletic. You don't make it to the NFL if you're not athletic. You know why they're in the Super Bowl? Because you know what they're the best at this year? Focus. They go into the film room. They watch the game again and again and again and again and again. They get on the field, and they're focused, and they're watching, and they're watching, and they're doing, and they're thinking, and they're thinking. And as even the play develops, they're watching it. Because to become the best, you have to be all in. And that's the challenge of our lives. Do we have the trust to know that whatever's in front of me is the most important thing? You know, a great quarterback once said, life is a game of one-play battles. Nobody on the team is thinking about the next quarter. They're thinking about the next play. And when they're all in on the next play, that's when they see things that most people miss. That's when they find things inside themselves that most people don't have. Because that's our lives. Life is a game of one-play battles. And if me and you can look at our lives, whether it's in our Judaism, whether it's what we do for work, whether it's what we do with our family, whatever we're doing at that moment, it's all Judaism, but whatever we're doing at that second, if we can look at the play in front of us and say, I'll deal with it in 10 minutes. I am all in. I am all focused on what's in front of me. We'll find that we've got a little more creativity and resilience and wisdom and strength than we even knew possible. And then maybe we'll be able to not only be good at what we do, but to really achieve a higher level of greatness.
Since 2006, Chazak has inspired thousands of people via its numerous life-changing programs.
From little children
to teenagers,
from men
to women,
from yeshiva students
to young rabbis, and everyone in between.
Chazak touches them all, educating, inspiring, and guiding thousands throughout the year.
Shalom Avracha and welcome to the Chazak halftime Shiur. Baruch Hashem, everyone taking out the time to be machazek oneself in Divrei Torah, Divrei Chizuk, Divrei Hisoris. So I like to share with you the following. Yes, I know it's an NFL day today. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. But let's go think for a moment. Let's contemplate the most successful, the most decorated Olympian in the history of the Olympics, none other than Michael Phelps. Michael Phelps, now 35 years of age, the most celebrated Olympian, having won 28 medals in the Olympics, 23 gold medals, setting records, not only in those categories, but going back to the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, he won 8 gold medals and 1 single Olympics. So you can imagine, you got to wonder, you're thinking sports today. So here's the most decorated Olympian, the most successful gold medalist in the history of the Olympics. And they asked him once, Michael Phelps, yes, we know you train hours and hours a day. We know you made this your life. We know you actually have the physical frame ideal for a swimmer. But in the end of the day, come on, how do you do it? How do you beat all your peers? How do you far exceed your expectations? How do you go ahead and emerge victorious against people who are also training for 10,000 hours plus? How do you do it? How'd you make it to the top? So Michael Phelps responded years ago in an interview. He says, you think I'm so much better than my peers? And at the end of the day, he says, you know what it comes down to? So many races, he says, I've won by less than a couple of seconds, some even by a second, some by a split second. It could be a matter of centimeters. In the end of the day, how do I do it? He says, you know why? Because I want it more. Because I want it more badly. I'm not that much a better swimmer than so many of my fellow Olympians, but explain Michael Phelps, I have the starkest rotzen. I have the greatest drive. I have the most insatiable appetite, the most unquenchable thirst to want to make it to the top, to want to get to the finish line, to want to emerge victorious. I want it more badly than anybody else. Here we are at NFL Sunday, San Francisco 49ers. Competing against the Kansas City Chiefs. 12-4 during the regular season. The 49ers 13-3, very similar records. Patrick Mahomes, considered by many the best athlete in the sport today, one of the top quarterbacks in the league today. Kansas City Chiefs rated one of the top offenses going up against the 49ers, many considered the top defense in the league. Who's going to emerge the victor? The best offense, the best defense. Who's going to do it today? I don't know exactly where we're holding at halftime. After all, we're filming this before the day of the Super Bowl. But in the end of the day, as Michael Phelps told us, you know what so many times is the determining factor? Who wants it more? Who wants to hold that Vince Lombardi trophy in their hands? Who dreams about it the more? Who works harder? Who puts in more amelis, more yagia? In the end of the day, the defense stops the run. Who comes up with alternate schemes, the passing route, whatever they try to do? Somebody really wants to get somewhere. You can be driving down the road and you're in traffic. You can get a flat tire. But if you really want that destination, you're going to make it happen. You'll find a way. Because we know Chazal tell us it's not actually a Chazal, this particular wording, but ein davar hamifnei rotzen. There's nothing that stands in the way of rotzen. As I said, we don't have an actual Chazal, but we have a Zohar in Parshas Truman that says, Hakol tuluyin b'ravosei. Everything is totally, everything is dependent, everything comes down to rotzen. Everything is the drive, the willpower. How badly do you want it? Right? So Yitzchak Isaac Chover, in his drashas Siyach Yitzchak, you know how to teach a person? You know, we define people, Shemo, his name, his essence is encoded, encrypted in the window into that core essence, and that is the name. The name, the neshama, that defines an individual, the pneumius, the inner letters of the word neshama, shin mem. Shem, that is your name, that is your essence. You look at a person, Shemo, Shemo is his rotzen, right? So Yitzchak Isaac Chavar, no Shemo, shin mem vav, gematria 346, b'diuk, equals exactly rotzen 346. And on a type of a person, what is his name? It's one-on-one the same as what is his rotzen? What does he seek in life? What's his drive? What's his she'ifa? What's his chuga pnimis? Where do you want to go in life? What's your rotzen? What are you searching for? You want a steak? You want to eat in a nice restaurant? You want to have your favorite NFL team emerge victorious in a Super Bowl? Or do you want to be the biggest Eved Hashem that you could be? You want to be the best davener in the world, the biggest Baal Tzedakah, Hamasim Tov, and the biggest Hamachochem that you could be? Who wants it more? Who wants it more badly? We know the Gemara Chagiga Tesem and Beis, the difference between 100 and 101. It comes down to what? To one time. Why? Who wants it more badly? Who's going to push himself beyond his or her limits? Who's going to exceed all expectations? Who's going to make things happen? Who has the rotzen? Right, so Shlomo Volbo, one of the greatest Bali Musar of our generation, Ale Shor, and Sharsheni and Chelek Aleph in the 25th Perek, beginning on Daf Kuf Chav, Volbo writes, Rotzen, you know, the greatest drive in a person, the Koach of Chefetz, it's omuk, it's deep inside you, but it is you, it defines your core essence. What are you? What makes you tick? Your Rotzen, what are your drives? What are you thirsting for in life? Chazal tell us, Makas Daf Yudam and Beis, B'derech Shodam Rotze Leilech Melich Lanos. On the pathway that you want to go in life, you want spirituality, you want greatness as an Eved Hashem, to become the biggest Hamachochem, the greatest Tzanua, the greatest Davener, the greatest Batztok about Chesed. It comes down to what? B'derech Shadam Rotze Leilech. Who wants it? Who wants to be on the right path? And what are you doing to stay on the right path and to steig and to grow? Me'chayil achayil on that path. Yuma lamed chesem and beis. Abal Tahir, Messiah also, Abal Tame Postlano, writes Rav Oba, Chazal of being Megala revealing to one and all, that if you are be'emes, in truth, a Baal Tahir, that's what you want in life. You want to become Tahir, and you want to be mistabik, you want to get close to the Ribono Shel Olam, Messiah, so there's guaranteed siyata d'shmaya. People say, I wasn't able to do this, I didn't have siyata d'shmaya. Then you didn't want it badly enough. If you want it, you have a guaranteed promise, right? So, Foba, you will get the siyata d'shmaya, but show yourself, show the Ribono Shel Olam that you really are a Baal Tahir, that you really want it badly enough. The Gemara says in Brachas, those who Lom Dei Daf Yomi, you just had it just recently. Brachas Chav Chesem and Aleph. Rabbi Lazar ben Azariah takes over from Gamliel. And what does he do in his first day in the job as the Nasi? Sakul the Shomer Pesach, the Gemara says he got rid of the Shomer Pesach and he brought in many, many more rows and more Talmidim into the base matters, because there used to be a Shomer Pesach, somebody who guarded the entranceway, a bouncer. Gamliel had set it up. I don't want you to let anyone into the base matters unless the inside matches the outside. Asked Ramoto Katz, the Ber Machokek, the famed Rosh Yeshiva that tells Yeshiva in Cleveland, what type of Shomer Pesach is this? What type of guard? How do you know how to read people? How do you know how to discern what their intent is? Explained that tells the Rosh Yeshiva it was a lock on the door, and the test was, do you want to get in, do you not want to get in? If you really want to get in the base matters, you'll figure out a way. Where's the Ratzin? Who has the greatest Ratzin, the greatest drive, that defines you more than anything else in life. You want to get close to God, it's out there for the taking. A Super Bowl teaches us that, teaches us you can have two teams during the regular season, 12-4, 13-3, very similar. One of the best offenses, one of the best defenses. And now here they are together in Miami, and they're fighting it out, they're grueling it out. In the end of the day, yes, is one team so much better than the other? Lav Davka, not necessarily. But one of the major determining factors in any game, in any Super Bowl, and it comes down to what, 3-4 hour game, it's 11 minutes of playing time. For those 11 minutes of actual playing time, do you give it your all? Do you have the greatest Ratzon? Do you want to get to the end zone more than anybody else? Where's the drive? Where's the chukah? Klal Yisrael, Super Bowl has to teach us all that you want to emerge victorious. Muster up that drive, that cheshek to say, I want and I will become a Lomdei Daf Yomi. I will become a Tamar Chacham. I will finish Shas. I will know Shas. I will be close to the Ribono Shel Olam. I will be the best Davener, the best Bal Chesed. Show yourselves, Klal Yisrael. Wake up today, be inspired, and say, I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be the greatest. I'm going to give it my all each and every day, and the Eibishter should send you all siyata d'shmaya to get to your finish lines, to your end zones, to score touchdowns every day, and in Yoni Ruchani is to steig, to keep growing, and to want to grow more than anything else in the world. Bruch and Hatzlacha. Enjoy the rest of your gewaldige day.
So Yogi Berra's wife once asked him, Yogi, where should I bury you? You were born in Missouri, you live in New Jersey, you play for the New York Yankees. Which one is it? And he looked at her and he said, surprise me. I appreciate this anecdote so much because so much of what makes the Super Bowl so exciting is the sense of suspense, the sense of mystery, of surprise. Who's going to win? The 49ers or the Chiefs? It's that sense of unpredictability that keeps so many at the edge of their seats, worrying, waiting, excited about who will come out triumphant. But this is not only true about Super Bowl or similar games, it's also true about the game of life. From a Jewish perspective, what makes the game of our lives so powerful, so enthralling, so passionate, so rich, so interesting, is the sense of surprise, of mystery, of unpredictability. Every moment I have an opportunity to surprise myself, to surprise the world, to surprise God, to surprise history. It begins with God. The Maggid of Mizrich has a fascinating teaching. We know the Medrash says that Hashem fulfills every mitzvah that the Jewish people fulfill. And he asks a question. I know how God fulfills the mitzvah of Avas Hashem, of loving God. He loves every single Jew. And a Jew is a piece of Hashem. When he loves us, he's loving God and godliness. But how does God fulfill the mitzvah of Yiras Hashem, of fearing God, Yiras Shamayim? Who does he fear and why does God fear? And the Maggid of Mizrich answered. The Gemara says in Brachas Daf Lamed Gimel, Brachas 33, many of you are going to learn it this week, Amar Reb Chanina, Hakoil bidei Shamayim chutz miyiras Shamayim. Everything is in the hands of heaven besides fear of heaven. When it comes to moral choices, I am the one who has to make that choice. You are the one who has to make the choices in your life. And therefore God, when it comes to Yireh Shamayim, he relinquished, so to speak, control. And he waits in great anticipation and awe and suspense to see what his beloved child is going to choose to do, to say, to think, how to act at this moment. It's also about surprising myself in life. There's that famous and powerful medrash at the beginning of Koheles that a human being has 7 stages in life. When you're born, you're like a king. Everybody carries you and holds you and adores you, and you get the greatest attention and respect and dignity. And when you turn 2 and 3, the Medrash says you're like a chazi, you're like a swine, going to dirty places, getting dirty and making a mess everywhere. And when you're like 10, you're jumping like a goat. And when you're 20, you become like a horse, in the sense that you're trying to make yourself very appealing and very attractive, beautifying yourself. And then you get married and you become like a chamor, a donkey, carrying the heavy burden and the pressure of earning a livelihood. And then when you get even older and your family grows, the pressures to make ends meet turns you into a kelev. You must have a lot of chutzpah and audaciousness like a dog to be able to support your growing family. And then the Medrash says, hiskin, Harary kekaif. When you get older, you become like a monkey, like an ape, like a chimpanzee. But the Medrash doesn't explain why. And the great Kotzker Rebbe gave the following explanation. And he said a monkey or a chimpanzee or an ape has the habit of copying people. When we get older, we start copying. We start imitating. Who do we imitate? And he said we start imitating ourselves. I live today as an imitation of yesterday. My life tomorrow is an imitation of today. I often get stuck in my comfort zone. I get stuck in the quagmire of my insecurities. I become confined by my habits. My life is so predictable. There's no ingenuity. There's no creativity. I don't shock myself. I don't surprise myself anymore. I go to the same predictable places. I follow the same predictable routines. I'm addicted to the same predictable habits. I want to meet the same types of people. I want to remain in the same types of realities and situations. My horizons become narrower and narrower, and I just become a copy today of what I was yesterday. Said the Kotzker Rebbe, don't become a monkey. Remain a human being. Have the courage to reinvent yourself. Have the courage to surprise yourself. Have the courage to transcend your fears, your insecurities, your egos, your habits, your addictions, your toxicity, your traumas. Have the courage to be able to explore a new side of you. Shock yourself. Surprise yourself. Isn't that the secret of life from a Jewish perspective? And the reason why the first Jewish child, born as a Jew, his name was Yitzchak. Yitzchak means laughter, comedy. Who would name their child laughter, comedy, a joke? What would your therapist say when you told your therapist, my parents named me a joke? And yet, that's the name that God designated for the first Jewish child. It's also my name. Because what makes a good joke? What makes a great comedian? What generates laughter in people's psyches? And the answer is always the element of surprise. It's the unexpected punchline that makes for a great joke. The purpose of life from a Jewish perspective is Yitzchak. To generate laughter in yourself, in the world, in Hashem, in the entire cosmos. How? By surprising yourself, by shocking yourself. Of course, it's easy for me to remain stuck in my habits and my addictions and my old stories and my old versions. But when I have the courage to shock myself, to surprise myself, to transcend myself, God looks and says, wow, that was an unexpected punchline. That was not just funny, but awesomely funny.
For 30 years, Eytan served as military commander in the Israeli army. From fighting on the front lines in the Yom Kippur War to leading the raid on Entebbe, Effie has stared death in the face many times over the years and somehow miraculously survived. But nothing can compare to what happened to Effie a couple of years ago when he was on a fishing tour in Alaska.
We flew to Anchorage, and then from Anchorage by a small airplane to a place called King Salmon, and from King Salmon to a group of 6 wooden lodge in the middle of nowhere. Unbelievable, spectacular nature, lakes and woods and caribou.
Effie was so looking forward for this trip because all the years he's been on the front lines in Gaza and Lebanon and Syria, and he was finally getting some time alone.
One of the guys spoke to our fishing guide and said, "Bill, there is only one animal that can be dangerous, and that the grizzly bears. What am I supposed to do if a bear will come?" And then he said, "Everybody listen, if a bear will come, you should stand still, turn your face to him and say, 'Hey bear, this is my place, I want to fish here.'" I burst out laughing. I said, "Will he accept this argumentation? Is he aware for such a ritual?" And Bill said, "Don't worry. It always worked. It will work in your case too."
A couple of hours later, Effie's all alone, minding his own business, fishing while eating his tuna sandwich, the tuna that he brought from Israel. And all of a sudden he hears rustling in the leaves behind him.
I turned my head, and there he was, a grizzly bear in the wilderness, 15 meters from me.
Every part of Effie wanted to run. But you know, grizzly bears run 30 miles an hour. If you run, they'll catch you. If you climb up a tree, they'll climb and get you.
I had nothing to do but following the instructions I got. And then I stood, looked at him, and then I said, "Hey bear, this is my place. I intend to fish here." When he heard my voice, he stood on his hind legs, more huge than he looked when he was standing on his 4 feet.
Effie is about to melt from fear, but continues to say, "Beer."
"This is my place. I intend to fish here." And then after a few seconds, he went downstream and started to fish salmon fishes.
Later that afternoon, Billy comes back with the propeller airplane to pick up Effie, and Effie says, "Billy, you're not going to believe what happened. It worked, it worked. Tell me, how does that work? Does the bear understand English?" And Billy says, "It's simple.
For the bear, you are a human being. You are the crown of nature, and he will never think about you as food unless you behave like an animal. You are crawling, you are running, you are screaming, you are bleeding, but when you stand and you hear a human voice, it will never attack you."
You know, you and I will probably never have to face a grizzly bear, hopefully. But in Jewish literature, the bear is always a symbol of anger, anxiety, and temptation. And these are the bears many of us struggle with and face every single day, which is why Shlomo HaMelech, the wisest man to ever live, writes in Koheles, "Im ruach hamoshel ta'alo alecha." When you feel these powerful negative emotions come over you, the most important rule to remember is Mekoimcha al tanach. Don't react and run. Stand your ground. Remember who you are. You are someone who's created in the image of Hashem. And beneath all the layers of fear, self-doubt, and insecurities, there's this powerful, infinite light. And if we can tap into that and feel it in our gut, then we'll have the confidence to take a stand, face our fears, and overcome our struggles.